Hi, I'm Ed Johnson, curator of medieval and Renaissance collections for the Burrell, and today, as part of World Architecture Day, I would like to take this opportunity to look at one of my favourite architectural pieces in the Burrell, the Hornby Portal. This large sandstone doorway, standing at nearly 7 metres tall, is to this day every bit as grand and impressive as it would have been in the 16th century, when it stood as the monumental entrance to the Great Hall of Hornby Castle in North Yorkshire. Now, the portal operated not only as a fashionably decorative and attractive doorway, it served as an imposing display of confidence and proud ownership for the Conyers family, who inherited the castle through marriage in the late 14th century. Now, over the next century, the Conyers rose to become one of the dominant families of North Yorkshire. This rise to preeminence was by no means certain, as like many members of the late medieval gentry, the Conyers became embroiled in the bloody and bitter civil war, now known as the Wars of the Roses. The family were deeply drawn into the conflict and often found themselves on what would prove to be the wrong side. So John Conyers, who died in 1490, and his son were instrumental in the failed Yorkshire Rebellion against Edward IV in 1469. Now, despite this, Sir John was able to successfully negotiate his way through the aftermath to become a trusted ally to the king's brother and eventual successor, Richard III. He was even elected to the Order of the Garter in 1483. However, just 2 years later, King Richard was defeated at the Battle of Bosworth Field, and Sir John again found himself at the mercy of a victorious opponent. Henry Tudor, who assumed the throne as King Henry VII, fortunately for the Conyers, was to prove a pragmatic man who saw a need for continuity in the north. Sir John again retained his lands, and along with his grandson and heir William, were given titles and offices in North Yorkshire. William's role in the suppression of a revolt of 1489 drew him even closer to the new dynasty, and in 1509 King Henry VIII made him William I Baron Conyers. This portal, which may have been raised by William Conyers, celebrates the Conyers' good fortunes and new status amongst the English aristocracy. The heraldic display, which dominates the doorway, would have been highly visible to all of those entering the castle grounds, and they could not fail but be impressed by the imposing coronated shield, supported by the fearsome-looking lion and bull. The shield itself incorporates several other coats of arms, which represent the advantageous marriages and alliances made by the Conyers with other noble families, such as the Nevilles, Darcys and Fauconbergs, and the name Conyers is carved just above the archway. The portal is a statement in solid stone to the Conyers' lordship and the new confidence and stability that came with the support of a newly established and most importantly stable Tudor dynasty. In fact, it was so solid a statement that it was to outlast the Conyers themselves at Hornby, and was still to be found in situ in 1927, when the then owners, the Dukes of Leeds, began the process of breaking up and selling the estate. It was the American newspaper tycoon William Randolph Hearst who initially purchased the portal, possibly for inclusion at St Donat's Castle in Wales, which he purchased in 1925. Hearst died in 1951, and his estate moved quickly to dispose of much of his collection, including numerous architectural pieces, many of which, including the Hornby Portal, had remained crated ever since their purchase. William Burrell, who was in his 90s at the time, was still a shrewd and canny buyer, and he saw an excellent opportunity to snap up some bargains for inclusion in a future museum dedicated to his collection. The Hornby Portal was purchased in 1954 for a bargain £150. When the Burrell Museum opened in 1983, the portal was a key element which tied the modern building and the collection together. It's a truly beautiful and important piece of early modern architecture that within its new surroundings and the Burrell galleries will no doubt continue to impress visitors old and new. Thank you very much.